ThaBoxingvoice.com, live here with Deas. We're going to do the Patreon questions. We got Dual Ingram that says, what's your background? What made you think you could train or promote or manage guys at the highest level?
That's a good question. Actually, what happened was when I was a kid, my brother was a boxing writer. Even in high school, he was writing for national publications, so I grew up with it, right? So I remember being the only third grader that knew the top 10 of every weight class and wondered why all the other kids didn't know the top 10. So we went to boxing shows everywhere, and then when I was 14, I started boxing and boxed some amateur, mostly sparring partner for everybody all the way through, and did that from when I was about 15 up until about like 45. Started a promotional company at 26, and I put on 89 shows in 25 years, which is not a lot of shows, but it's consistent. We've done 3 or so shows a year, 3 to 4, keep the local guys going, and that just segued into management, segued into promotion, and then eventually segued into training. So I guess the main thing is, to answer your question, being in Alabama, where there's not a lot of boxing, you have to do a little bit of everything. You have to be a jack of all trades, a Swiss Army knife. So I've done judging, refereeing, sparring, boxing, ring announcing, refereeing, promoting, managing, training, cut man. So you have to, because there's not that many people here. So I had to do a little bit of everything.
Jack of all trades. Next one is from Matt Garces in Texas. It says, being the trainer of a heavyweight champ, I imagine you look at the landscape of the division a little deeper than the champ does. That being said, do you see anyone that could be the heir to the heavyweight throne once the big three are gone?
Well, I tell you, there are some guys that we bring into camp, and you can see that wow, like this kid can be really good. And the thing you don't know is what I call the doors. Generally speaking, these guys have the potential to go and be champions, but you don't know what's going to happen. Everything they want is at the door at the end of the hall, but there's doors left and right that can tug at them, whether it be women or alcohol or drugs or managerial problems or injuries or promotional problems, or all these things are these doors left and right. And if they can somehow, some way stay away from all these doors and just head to the door at the end of the hall, they can break through and make it and be champion. But those are the things you don't know about until the process gets far enough along.
So you don't want to say a name?
I don't want to say a name. We've got some really good guys in camp. Some of the guys. Stephen Shaw is a tremendous boxer. Young, talented. Junior Fa's got great height and range. Robert Alfonso has that Cuban background, and he's very tough to hit. Everybody brings different things into camp, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but those are just some of the young undefeated guys that we've had in that can make a mark.
Now that's people in your camp. He meant the heavyweight landscape, people out there.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, there's also great fighters out there, but I tend to focus on the ones that I can see personally and put my eyes on. So some of the guys coming up that are maybe in the top, 20 or 30 or whatever, I may not have seen, or I may not have seen enough of them yet to make a really definitive kind of a call on how they are.
Jay in Philly says, Jay, thanks for the time. Wilder seems to be improving his boxing skill. Is there ever a consideration for Wilder to use height and reach to transition into more of a boxer later in his career if the power of God he possesses fades a little?
Well, one thing we know in boxing is the last thing you lose is your power. So he's always going to have the power. But the skill set, the things he's learned that he's doing really well, are the things that maybe the average person can't see, the subtleties, the positioning, the footwork, the timing, the distance. See, all these things have to be there for him to land those devastating shots. Because when you fight Deontay Wilder, first and foremost, you're like, I got to do whatever I got to do to not get hit. So most guys typically try to either stay outside the power or inside the power, not at the end of the power. Well, it's Deontay's job with footwork and all the things that are skill, timing, distance, spacing, all the things that just positioning, all the things I just mentioned, those are skill, probably the most skill. And that's where he has to incrementally get closer or further away and calculate those distances to land those shots. So that's really the most skill. Look, that is much more skill than some guy on Facebook throwing a 42 punch combination with 3 slips, 4 dips, 5 hips, and a side straddle hop, and everybody going ooh and ah. That looks like skill, but that's actually not truly skill. I know Floyd Mayweather does a lot of that kind of stuff on the mitts, but in fact, the truth is Floyd's true skill is with his timing and his spacing and his distance and his ability to counter and punch in between spaces. That's really, if you want the truth, that's where Floyd is that caliber of fighter, not the flashy stuff that makes people go ooh and ah. So it's the subtleties, and that's really what we concentrate on.
Mad Bent says, how intense was judging the fights? Do you have a new respect for judges, and what do you look for in a fight?
Oh, you're talking about me judging the other night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I got called to judge in Mississippi at the PBC show. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think I did a good job. I think we got it right. There was no scorecards that were way out of whack. I think I do, as a trainer, I think I see some more subtleties maybe than an average judge. I can tell you this. A guy like Juan Manuel Marquez probably was too good for the judges that were judging him. I don't think they could see all the things he was doing because of the intricacies and how brilliant he was at setting traps and the things that he did. I don't think judges truly could comprehend. He's too good for the judges. So I would say, well, I enjoyed it, and I would like to, I kind of think when Deontay's done, I'm done. As far as we came in this together, we're going to go out together, and I'll still advise guys, but I think judging would be something great. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think I'm still learning, and I enjoyed it, and I asked a lot of questions, and I think I could get better at it, and I think it would be something that I would really enjoy doing. I think with enough training and a good attitude and a willingness to learn, I could exceed and I could succeed at that, as given the opportunity.
It's so funny that you're going the humble route on the telecast. They were praising you because they feel like more people in the business should be able to transition into a judge, not only to do a better. I didn't
know that they said anything.
Yeah, not only to do a better job because we have such poor judging, but to educate as well, because if you like you said, wearing many different hats, and you see things that a normal person can't because you are a trainer. So it should be like that for every judge, really. Have some sort of experience outside of just being a fan.
I had a really good time doing it. I think everybody was I had some people call me and say, well, you're intense, but I say I watch it the same way I do when I watch Deontay or whatever. Mm-hmm. So they said that I'm kind of moving, and I'm and I'm trying to see what they're trying to do, who's negating who's doing what. There was one fight between a guy that was like 19-19 and the kid that was like 6-0. And the kid that was 6-0 was vastly superior in talent. But the 19-19 guy, boy, he knew every trick in the book. And I think I wound up giving him 2 of the 8 rounds. I don't think any other judge gave him a round. But I thought that on guile and experience and he was holding him and hitting him and all those slick old school tricks. He snuck a couple of rounds doing that, and I thought it was cool. It was a little bit like Salado fighting Chinko. He took the kid and fought him like a grizzled veteran would fight a kid. And I thought he won a couple of rounds doing that, but nobody else did. But I think sometimes judges, and they got it right, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say anything about the other judges. We got it right. We got the right call. But I think sometimes when you see 19-19 against 6-0 or 9-0, I think there's an assumption that in a close round, well, the kid must have won it. But I don't make those assumptions because, I've had some slick journeyman guys like a Marcus McGee that would go 10 rounds with a Jameel McCline or a Malik Scott or a Michael Grant and win some of those rounds on slickness. And so I guess I'm coming from that place as well.
All right. The next one is from Rue in the 504. Says, who have you guys brought in to replicate Fury in sparring?
The 504, that would be what, New Orleans-ish? Yeah, good. I love it down there. They certainly know how to eat. And congratulations to LSU for what they did in football. But I will say this. We brought in, we've had, and I know I'm going to forget somebody, so forgive me.
Specifically for replicating Fury, or do all the guys play some part in replicating Fury?
Well, that's the thing. You can't really find a guy to replicate Fury any more than you can to replicate Wilder. Mm-hmm. So you have to piece it together. You have to find something somebody does that maybe is like somebody from the outside may think you're crazy. Like, why would you bring that guy in? He's nothing like Fury. But there may be, he may do those hard feints, or he may have a positioning that's the same. So we brought in guys like Amron Sands and Craig Lewis. We're trying to keep some lefties in the mix as well. We got Malik Scott and Emmanuel Odiasi, and then we've also got Junior Fa, who's been very, very good. Stephen Shaw, Robert Alfonso. I know I'm going to forget somebody, but we've had good guys in camp that have given us a good look, and it's just a matter of trying to find the right guys in the right week, the right combination of guys to give us those looks.
All right, there's a lot of sparring partners. We got Iron Sal in California says, how long have you been judging?
I probably off and on have been judging since maybe 96 or 97. Wow. But I've only done probably like, I don't know, 30 to 40 shows. It's just as a fill-in thing, and when people needed me, and I've always felt like if I could do more consistently. I haven't judged in probably like 4 or 5 years before this one the other night, so it was great. And look, the only reason they put me opposite the camera is because I didn't know what the attire was, so I wore my one and only suit. And I think they saw that and said, oh, okay, you look presentable. We'll put you opposite the national TV camera. So, hey, sometimes, it's the only time you'll ever see me in a suit, right?
All right. We got Steve in Chicago said, I was glad to hear you say AJ is irrelevant the last time Ness interviewed you for TBV. I've been saying the same thing. The same. I'm glad to see you judge PBC card in Biloxi. Do you plan on judging in any other states besides Mississippi? If so, which one and when?
I don't have any plans to judge unless they call me. I'm full time with Deontay, and that's the only reason that I was they needed a judge, and I know those guys, and it was a quick trip down and back, and Deontay was in Miami doing Super Bowl, so I tend to go out of town when Deontay's out of town, and I tend to stay in town when he's in town, and that's just because he may need me or I may need him, and so pretty much we try to sync it out, and I go based on his schedule, so it was perfect timing. But yeah, they're supposed to be doing another show in April down there. I've told them I'd love to do it. I talked to the WBC and told them that after my career as a trainer is over, I would absolutely love to get in their program and study and learn and spend time and see if I can make a go of it as a judge. I would really enjoy that.
That would be great. We have Killer in Sweden who says, have you worked on Wilder's inside game for this camp?
He has a very strong inside game. Yes, we do work on that, primarily on Fridays when we do situational boxing, and also on mitts and those type things, because again, Fury's probably going to try to stay either outside or inside. If he tries to stay inside Deontay's range, we want to have something for him. Deontay's a very, very rough guy on the inside, so I feel confident on the inside with Deontay.
All right. These UK fans. We had another one from the UK. Coyote says, last time you were on the show, you claimed Jonathan Banks lied about dropping Deontay Wilder in sparring by Vladimir Klitschko. Why should we believe you when you previously came on the show and lied about how no one wants to fight Luis Ortiz, when we all know that AJ sent him an offer that Ortiz's team turned down? The reason for turning down the offer was because they were going to fight Wilder instead.
Well, that's not a lie at all, then, is it? If you get a better offer and a better opportunity, then you got to take it, and that's what they did. They know that's where the best opportunities lie, would be fighting Deontay Wilder, the heavyweight champion of the world, the biggest name, the biggest star in boxing. So as far as Jonathan Banks, I didn't call Jonathan a liar. Sometimes different people see things from different perspectives. They come to it from a different perspective. When I was there absolutely was no knockdown or anything between Vladimir and Deontay. They did great work together. Vladimir's a tremendous fighter. Deontay got the most rounds and came out of the camp with the only bonus that I think they've given in quite a while. Vladimir would tell you Deontay, and I think he's been on record as saying Deontay's the best sparring partner he had ever had, or one of the best he had ever had. So if Jonathan saw something when I wasn't there because I wasn't there the entire camp, but Russ Amber was there the rest of the time. He said nothing. There was nothing to that effect. I think people hear things and they take things and things get twisted and turned. But me and Jonathan are friends. We've never had a disagreement. We believe a lot of the same core values and everything. And I would never call Jonathan a liar.
This is all Dillian White stirring the pot. He's the one that resurfaced the rumor. Seven in California says, "What's up, Mister? Who said he can't go 12 rounds?" Laugh out loud. Did you hear about Fury not sparring to the head, just body work, I guess? I only believe it because of the cut and his team not allowing access to film crew to be in the gym when training. Do you believe this, and how will this affect a fighter for a fight?
There's been a lot of rumors going around about all that, and I don't put stock in any of them. We're expecting the best Fury, and to think that he's going to be diminished in any capacity would be bad on our part, because we've got to be ready for the best Tyson Fury, and that's what we're doing. So what they're doing, what we're doing. He may just not want cameras around, and I get that. A lot of times I don't want cameras around because we're working on certain things or whatever. So from a trainer standpoint, I get that. It's not just open day for anybody. There are times where you need to lock it down and it just be you and your main crew. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're doing over there. My job is to do the best we can do. And as far as the who says he can't fight, yeah, I may have gotten a little emotional at that time, but I think that was just funny because the hate was so out there about. I always thought it was kind of weird that people would assume something couldn't happen because it hasn't happened. I never understood that line of logic that because he hadn't gone 12, he can't go 12. Because he hadn't overcome adversity, he must not can. Because he hadn't taken a huge shot, he must not can take a huge shot. Like, I didn't understand. I mean, by that logic, you would assume that your baby will never walk. He hadn't walked yet, so I guess he can't. What kind of logic is that?
CYP in California says, if the opportunity for the Cruiserweight Undisputed Championship presented itself after the Undisputed Heavyweight bout, do you think Wilder would take it? No man has ever held them simultaneously.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that I don't know that there's enough recognition or money at that division. Heavyweights where the big names are and the big money is, and also you got a fact. Most guys that lose a lot of weight and then try to come back, for some reason there's something that goes on there that doesn't work very well. Like when Roy Jones went to heavyweight and he came back down, he was never quite the same light heavyweight. When Chris Bird went down to light heavyweight, he was not effective at that weight. It's just something about doing that. It's going up and down is not. I just don't think at this weight with how much weight you're talking about, it's just not a wise thing.
Now, Wilder has said that he would consider that. He has said that in previous interviews, and being as though he came in at 209 for the Fury fight, do you think that 9 extra pounds is a lot of weight? Because he's only got to weigh under the 200, right?
Yeah, but that's a lot of weight when you're talking about a guy like Deontay. And for what? I don't know that it makes any sense. I mean, I think all the big challenges you got a tremendous top heavyweight division. Then you've got this mid-level of contenders that are really good right now, and they're working their way up the chain, with the Kalnakis and and those guys. And then you've got these young undefeated guys that are I don't know. It's just an exciting time, and I don't think there's really a need or a time frame to do that. I think all the best challenges are up here at the top.
Like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.